like the Willowglen, these old maritime ships, they got good steel in them. They're heavier plating than the others. And these maritime boats, they've got one plate higher than the other ones too. They're not fast. They run around 10 knots, and otherwise than that, they're just comfortable riding, that's all. You haven't got no heavy speed with them, that's for sure. But they're comfortable. And let's see, we're headed for Thunder Bay to load grain for St. Lawrence River Port. We should be up there Tuesday morning. Takes about 3 days and a half to go from Port Colborne.
Propulsion for the Willowglen comes from her 2,500 horsepower triple expansion steam engine. This magnificent machine has been pushing this classic boat through the Great Lakes for over 45 years, as of this 1987 documentation. Crucial to the operation of an up-and-down marine engine are the duties of her engineers and oilers. These machines require constant tending to ensure trouble-free running. Cranks, bearings, and eccentrics are felt for signs of heat or pounding. Thrust bearings are felt for vibration and heat. And the jacking engine turned to ensure free-running operation. Every moving part in the engine room is checked and oiled twice per hour. Topside, an airborne visitor cruises in search of a handout. The light winds hardly fluster the gulls as the lake goes rolling by. On the horizon, a downbound saltwater sister passes to our port. On the bridge, the mate's watchful eyes scan the horizon for other neighbors and for navigation hazards. As the wheelsman turns the wheel, the steering engine instantly responds. The giant tiller moves and the ship stays on course. As with the main engine, oiling is crucial for the smooth operation of the many auxiliaries on the ship. The duplex feed water pump is first oiled with an oil can and then painted with grease using a wood-handled paintbrush. The use of wooden brushes is now rule number one with this shipping company. It was a departure from this tradition that created the chain reaction that culminated with the grounding of the Willowglen 1 month earlier. The mishap began when an inexperienced oiler, using a nylon-handled paintbrush, attempted to grease the main gear of the steering engine. Not being familiar with the unannounced quick starts of this engine, the oiler was caught off guard while applying grease through the small inspection door. The engine suddenly started, pulling the sticky brush from his hand and into the gears. The nylon handle jammed the gears and rendered the ship uncontrollable. The ship grounded on rocks and was damaged. The tenacious nylon handle still lies near the spot where it caused so much trouble. Repairs to the Willowglen were made at the Port Weller dry dock. After arriving at this sprawling facility, the Willowglen was carefully positioned over support blocks and the water was drained from the dry dock. This gave repair crews access to the damaged plates at the bottom of her hull. Luckily, the gash in the hull was in an area that was double-plated, so that the water which entered the ship only flooded ballast compartments and not the crucial areas such as the engine and boiler rooms.
My name is Earl Teskey. I'm fleet engineer with P&H Shipping. Yeah, we're at the Port Weller Dry Dock, Ontario, which is just above Lock 1 in the Welland Canal. And the ship had the misfortune of going aground down by Iroquois Lock in the St. Lawrence Seaway. It was lightered and assisted by tugs and got free and went down to 3 rivers where it discharged the grain and then continued back up here light ship for the repair. Yes, they cropped out the damaged plating on the bottom, which was mainly in the starboard side, number 8 and 9 tanks.
Earl surveys the repairs with Willowglen's chief engineer, Murray Patterson. Repairs are made in a race against time, as every day of lost sailing represents thousands of dollars in lost revenues. P&H Shipping takes advantage of the time in dry dock to schedule a 5-year Coast Guard inspection of the vessel.
Okay there? Got the table?
With repairs almost complete, a secondary crack resulting from the accident is discovered and repaired.
Then to hang on the ball and it'll drop squint out to the fucking bottom of the canal, isn't it?
The dry dock is already being flooded as these repairs proceed. In an attempt to get back on schedule, every minute counts. The last weld is made. All of the work must meet Earl Teskey's high standards. As the dry dock fills, deck crews raise the gangway in anticipation of departure.
For 10 years.
Really?
Yeah, we'll put a pressure on her just to make sure. We'll put a pressure on her just to make sure. Oh, it's only down about 3 feet below that. Just a short time.
Wait there then, or what? Water in, isn't it?
Female crew members are an uncommon sight on American lakers. However, on Canadian ships, women turn to as readily as their male counterparts. The diesel tug, James McGrath of St. Catharines, waits patiently for the dock to flood. Inch by inch, the water rises.
Thank you, boys. You've done a fine job.
With the repairs now complete, the welders depart.
Hope you don't have sound on that.
Hey,
you have you can sound on it.
Send print back. Send print back.
No, just go on the ground. Terra firma.
Yeah, the ship has been here, this is the 8th day, and it will be departing at noon for Thunder Bay, Ontario, to load a cargo of grain for down the St. Lawrence, probably Montreal or Quebec City.
With the water now approaching the top of the lock gate and the ship now floating free, Earl Teskey departs, satisfied with a job well done. The Welland Canal and the Great Lakes now wait to test the integrity of the new plating and welds on Willowglen's bottom. hatches are closed and dogged down, and preparations are made for getting underway. Prepares to go into action. In Willowglen's boiler room, water level, steam pressure, and fires are checked. A full head of steam will be needed for maneuvering in the canal. Is no stranger to these waters. She was built at this very dry dock. She services ships exclusively in the Welland Canal.
Okay, she can't hurt anything now. She's up there, Cap. I just give her a bigger kick. That knuckle's run out to the flat part of the ship there.
Steam winches on Willowglen aid the tug in its handling and turning of the ship.
Easy with what she does now. She's going pretty good like that now. I don't want to go too fast. We don't need to be in any hurry anyhow, because that other fellow's going up to tie up, and then I got to wait for the stone castle to come down, so we'll have lots of time. Okay, then.
There she goes, Victor. There she goes. Try and hold her.
The ship bids a fond farewell to the Port Weller dry dock, and the trip to Thunder Bay begins.
Just steer right on the corner of the dock way down there, Richard. You know, lock 2 there?
Oh, lock 2, yeah.
Yeah, and right for the corner. We'll try to hold her up some.
After 8.5 days in dry dock, an eager ship and crew are underway again. Vital signs on the gauge board in the engine room are all good. Corresponding readings in the boiler room also check out. All burners are functioning properly and steam pressures and water levels are where they should be. Once underway, the fireman finds time to check his fires, monitor gauges, and clean built-up carbon from the burners.
You want a buyer? You want a buyer? This thing.
How about 18 forward?
Doing good. Keep a little port wheel on her, Alan Cobra. Yeah, just watch your stern, but once you come down.
15 forward, 10 on the corner.
Doing all right.
Massive locks of the Welland Canal make light work of raising the 9,000-ton steamer from the level of Lake Ontario up to that of Lake Erie. Passing through the 8 locks of the system requires almost a full day.
the bow up anyhow, Ellie. Okay.
Once clear of the canal, the engines are rung up to full ahead. With his mind now free from the hull repair burdens while in dry dock, Chief Patterson can turn his attention to the engine. He checks his mechanical monster for any signs of pounding, heat buildup, and wear. He makes sure that everything is running properly.
Yeah, this engine is a triple expansion, and it was built in 1943. I wouldn't be scared to bet that it'd be the largest triple expansion engine left in North America. I don't know whether there'd be one any bigger. One thing it has that a lot of triple expansion engines don't have, it has all piston valves that right through from the HP, IP, and LP. The LP has two. The engine, it has approximately 2,500 horsepower at normal running, and we can, we run it right now in around the 75, 76 revs. It will turn 80 revs. If we turn 80 revs, it should be moving along pretty good. We don't run it that hard because run at that speed at a lot of fuel and get someplace and go nowhere.
Willowglen's main engine has 3 cylinders of 24, 41, and 68-inch bores. The 225 pound per square inch steam from the boilers passes through all 3 of these cylinders before its work is done. The stroke of all 3 cylinders is 42 inches. Reversing of the engine is accomplished by shifting the 3 Stevenson links to which the valve stems are connected. The jacking engine is connected to the main engine by a worm gear. This small engine is used to slowly turn the main engine during times of repair, inspection, and layup. Duplex steam pumps supply the boilers with feed water and provide general service water pressure. Power from the ship's main engine passes from the crankshaft to the thrust bearing and to the 16-foot bronze propeller. The pitch of Willowglen's propeller is 14 feet 9 inches. A 2-cylinder reversing hide windlass steam engine raises and lowers the stern anchor. Once again, the waters of the Great Lakes slip beneath this great ship. Without so much as the tiniest leak in her repaired hull, Willowglen is back in the grain business and headed to Thunder Bay for a new cargo. The waters of Lake Erie are charted and a course is set.
Ships and buoys. The first buoy 36 north Manitou Island, all 0. Second buoy 31 miles west-northwest Caribou Island, light 0.
Original equipment on this boat includes her vintage gyro compass.
Third buoy 27 east-northeast Southern Island, light 1302.
The rudder indicator shows no problems with the steering gear, tiller, and rudder. With a lesson learned about nylon paintbrushes, the crew knows that this important system will now serve them faithfully.
17 miles southeast Manitou Island, all 0. Ship 27 miles west-northwest. 4. On Canaan 140. Otherwise, 22, 27, remaining going at 12.
Once again, Willowglen is passing other ships.
You want a daughter?
I had him on the corner up there by the ball.
It's fair skies and pleasant sailing on this trip upbound. Great Lakes sailing isn't always so pleasant as her captain recalls.
Well, I'll tell you, you ain't got enough film to cover all the boats I've been on. So, I don't know, this is my 45th year on these things. Otherwise than that, I've been on different boats, different class and all that. Well, in 1981, we were coming down Lake Superior, and the wind gone west, and we had the wind on our quarter. We had a young wheelsman that was not too familiar. He lost her, and she turned and went into the trough of the sea. When she turned, we looked aft, and there was no stern on her. She was just a wall of water. And that's all I can tell you about that. She just took a dive, and water went across her, and when she come up, she settled down. We were head to, and that's all there was to it. We just rode that way till the sea went down. In fact, we went back to Bay Degree that time, if I remember right, and waited there for a few hours. So, otherwise than that, that's about the worst one I was in, I guess. Right now, beautiful. No more than 15-mile-an-hour winds. And as you can see by the sea itself, there's nothing there.
The mindful, experienced hands take care and ensure the safe and accident-free running of the classic steamer Willowglen.